What's up, guys? This is Matt with Flagstaff Camera, and we had a request. How to know what to do if your 120 film is coming back from your lab blank. Specifically for a Hasselblad, this applies to the trick we're going to use to think about this. Applies to a lot of medium format cameras. So the easy ones are you're screwing the pooch on the exposure so bad that you're outside of the film's latitude. Possible, but unlikely. If you have the film loaded the correct way and your exposure is within like 9 stops of what's happening, which on most medium format cameras you almost can't not have, you'll be fine. I mean, maybe not fine, but you'll at least see an image, right? And of course, assuming that your lab develops your film correctly and like doesn't do something crazy like put the fixer in before the developer, we're going to assume that your lab knows what they're doing, like we do. So the easiest way to get your 120 film to come back blank is to load it backwards into either the back or the camera. 120 film will absolutely allow you to load it backwards, and you would never know if you didn't know. 35mm is a little more tricky to load backwards because there's that sort of hump, whatever shape on the cassette that doesn't want to go a certain way. 120 will let you do that. So today we're using our example of a Hasselblad. This lovely little kit we have here is for sale. Some medium format cameras won't let you take pictures if your dark slide is in. If your dark slide is in, for instance, this Hasselblad will not let me take a photo. Even if your dark slide is only partially in, I still can't take a photo, right? And that's something like, say, a Bronica. If you pull that dark slide like 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 inch out and it's not making contact with the safety, sometimes it'll let you take a picture even though you have a dark slide in. My solution is to, when I pick up the camera and I'm going to go shooting with it, take the dark slide out, put it in my pocket. Now I don't have to worry about it until I load up a new roll of film, right? There you go. The other way, move him out of the way, loading your film backwards. So we're going to take this little Hasselblad cassette here, and we're going to take it apart and look at what it is. So dark slide is where your film goes. This is where your film is facing, and the lens is up here somewhere, right? So this is the front of the camera. We're looking at this, essentially. Right? So I know that this surface needs to face the lens, and this is where my film is going to face. So what you do to make sure you get this right every single time, which I'm going to do wrong now on purpose, is to, let's say if we load it wrong, and I start pulling my film around to load it, this is how you would load your film backwards. You should, as you're loading your film, not be able to read this if your back separates and this is the direction that faces the lens, right? What I want is the black side of my backing paper to face the lens. That's the trick. Black backing paper facing the lens. If I loaded it like this, let's just like jam this together and we can pretend together that this is the way that I loaded this. There is no way on earth light is going to hit the film through this backing paper unless you really nuke it and you got all kinds of light coming through that camera, right? And even then, you'll get the Tri-X, you get all these beautiful squiggles that Kodak puts on here for you. That would be terrible. You should not be able to see this, okay? Now, this is for the Hasselblad specifically. If you're loading a TLR or a camera where you don't remove the back, you'll have the black side facing the lens and you will be able to read this. That gets complicated. But for a Hasselblad, we're gonna rewind my film here just a skosh. This is a test roll, by the way. We keep a couple of test rolls around the lab specifically so that we can show people stuff, and so that if something were to just happen to this, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's okay. So let me just kind of spool this back up real professional-like here. You may be able to tell, which you probably can't on this video, this spool has also been modified so that it could plausibly be 620. which we don't actually do for people. We just happen to have a couple of them sitting around that end up then as test rolls, so we can show you what 620 is and what it looks like and why it won't fit in your 120 camera, or will, or anyway. So we'll rewind this bad boy, and we're going to load it correctly this time. Oh man, I'm doing such a great job. 10 hours later. Okay, so I've pulled this Tri-X out of its little yellow packaging in subdued light because I'm not a Neanderthal. I know how to load film in subdued light. Put it in here, and the way to know you're doing it right is as you wrap it around, your black side of the paper, which is what the film is adhered to, faces forward, faces towards where the lens is going to be. This becomes, ready? This is going to be nasty. Oh, there's the film. That's the film that is going to be exposed, and this is the emulsion side of the film. So this is what needs to face the lens, right? Now normally no one would do this because this is a terrible, hateful thing to do to a roll of film. But luckily it was ruined before I inherited it, so it's fine. Anyway, so you would then load this in here. This back will only go on the camera one way. You keep your dark slide in until you're ready to shoot. Rock and roll. That's the easiest way to know your film is going to come back, like with pictures on it, is if you load it right. Any interest in me doing a TLR? Let me know, and I'll do that one later. Any questions, comments, concerns? Except for this poor ruined roll of Tri-X. Put those in the comment section. Till then, see you in the next one.